Hello dear pupils, welcome to the House of Knowledge. My name is Kатекаев and I'm very glad to see all of you on our today's webinar. After watching our video lessons, you have sent us some questions and the webinar we are having today includes answers to the most common questions you sent to us. And if you have some questions after watching this webinar, you are free to send us questions again too. During the webinar today, we are going to talk about writing review. So we will learn to write a review and a novel, The Phantom of the Opera. So we are ready to start. And the first question is, what is a review? A review can be defined as an evaluation of any form of publication, service, or organization. A review can be of several items such as a movie review, a video game review, the review of a novel or literature, reviews of home appliances, gadgets, electronic goods, music album review, review of a concert, and much more. Apart from the critical analysis or evaluation of the work, ratings are also assigned by the reviewer, which indicates its merit. Reviews can be done for current trends, events, and news items. So, how to write a film review? Before you start with writing your movie review, the first stage in learning how to write a movie review is watching the film. There is no way that you are going to be able to write a good review without actually watching a film. When you watch the film, try to take notes of anything that you think is particularly good or poor. This can be about any aspect of the film, the acting, or even the storyline itself. Introduction to your movie review. A movie review starts with the introduction. Remember that this writing is for entertainment, so it will be best to open with something that will get interest of the reader. In your introduction, you need to cover the basic outline of the movie, what is the main plot, major events within the movie. Don't give away any surprises. Nobody likes a spoiler before they watch the movie. Who are the main characters? Who is the director? Be unique and do not copy. Next is the main body of your review. The most important part of your review is the part where you give your opinion about the film itself. Depending on the expectation of your audience will depend on how much and to what depth you will write. You have to consider your audience before you start to write and then cover some or all of the following. The plot of the movie, is it believable, well paced, well written, interesting? The cinematography, is it effective? Are the stunts and effects believable? Is the movie set correctly? Are the actors believable? Do they do their roles justice? Finishing your movie review, the last stage is to write your conclusion and ensure that your review is well written. The conclusion should summarize the main points that you have covered within your review before you give your overall opinion of the movie that you have watched. So, ревью — это рецензия, ваша личная оценка того, что вы увидели, прочитали или посетили. Как и у любого вида сочинения, у ревью есть структура. Это введение, о чем будете говорить или буду говорить, основная часть, что именно понравилось, не понравилось, и заключение. Смотреть или не смотреть, читать или не читать. Введение, как правило, сообщает о том, какое произведение было выбрано для ревью, почему остановились именно на этом произведении, что заставило написать ревью. Особенно много писать в начале не имеет смысла. Это должно быть всего лишь 2-3 предложения, которые расскажут, о чем пойдет речь. Все самое интересное находится в основной части. Здесь можно дать волю своей фантазии. В этой части указывают, какие актеры снимаются в главных ролях и каких персонажей они играют. Причем хорошо бы совместить эти события, все это вместе с событиями фильма. Ну и в заключении каждый уважающий себя ценитель литературы или кинематографа пишет, стоит ли данный фильм, книгу смотреть, читать, а также подводит итог, почему он так считает. Some additional adjectives and adverbs and phrases that are useful will be useful for you to write when you write a review. So adjective supporting cast, вспомогательный состав, актеры второго плана. Scene chewing role, переигранная, наигранная роль. Yesteryear, прошлогодний. No holds barred, без ограничений. Star-crossed lovers, под несчастливой звездой, несчастливые влюбленные. Accomplished Oscar-nominated actors, состоявшийся, искусный, номинированный на Оскар актер. Post-apocalyptic environment, постапокалиптическая среда. Universally accepted entertainment, всемирно признанное развлечение. Well-paced script, хорошо развивающийся сценарий. Meaningful characters, значимый персонаж. Motion sickness inducing camera, вызывающая укачивание работа оператора. Adverbs that can be also useful for you. Critically acclaimed, признанный критиками. Inherently, по существу, от природы. At times, иногда. And notice the following phrases that can be used in your reviews. To exhibit something close to earlier performance. Играть приблизительно так же, как в предыдущих ролях. The film feels like a watered-down edit of a much more ambitious film. Фильм похож на разбавленный водой монтаж более амбициозного фильма. To judge a picture solely on the merits contained within it. Судить о фильме, основываясь исключительно на достоинствах этого фильма. Something that is sorely missing from the movie is idea. Чего-то не хватает в фильме, идеи, мысли. Something is haphazardly executed. Concept, the main message. Что-то бессистемно реализуется. Идея, главное послание. Something is a far cry from masterpiece, the work of a cameraman film. Что-то совсем далекое от шедевра. Работа оператора, фильм. Well, now I'm sure you can easily write a film review using all the information you've learned from the video lessons and from the webinar. And as for now, I'll tell you about famous novel. So we'll talk about famous novel The Phantom of the Opera. The Phantom of the Opera is a novel by French writer Gaston Leroux. It was first published as a serialization in Le Gaulle from 23rd September 1909 to 8 January 1910. It was published in volume form in late March 1910 by Pierre Laffy and directed by Eliel Melinel. The novel is partly inspired by historical events and the Paris opera during the 19th century and apocryphal tale concerning the use of a former ballet pupil's skeleton in Carl Maria von Weber's 1841 production of The Freshot. It has been successfully adapted into various stage and film adaptations, most notable of which are the 1925 film depiction featuring Lon Chaney and Andrew Lloyd Webber's 1986 musical. Many pupils wondered what the history behind the novel is. So, Leroux initially was going to be a lawyer, but after spending his inheritance gambling, he became a reporter of L'Echo de Paris. At the paper, he wrote about the critic dramatist, as well as being a courtroom reporter. With his job, he was able to travel frequently, but he returned to Paris, where he became a writer. Because of his fascination with both Edgar Allan Poe and Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, he wrote a detective mystery entitled The Mystery of the Yellow Room in 1907. And 4 years later, he published Le Phantom de l'Opéra. The novel was first published within newspapers before finally being published as a novel in 1911. The setting of the Phantom of the Opera came from an actual Paris opera house that Leroux had heard the rumors about from the time the opera house was finished. The details about the Palais Garnier and rumors surrounding it are closely linked in Leroux writing. The underground lake that he wrote about is accurate to this opera house, and it is still used for training firefighters to practice swimming in the dark. The event that was the infamous Candelier crash also rang to be true. The mysteries that Leroux uses in his novel about the Phantom are still mysteries. However, he defended the rumors to be true, even on his deathbed. The Phantom of the Opera's origin came from Leroux' curiosity with the Phantom being real. In the prologue, he tells the readers about the Phantom and the research that he did to prove the truth of the ghost. His findings connected the corpse from the opera house to the Persian Phantom himself. Well, as you can see, the history as the plot of the novel itself is very interesting, and I advise you to read the novel or watch musical The Phantom of the Opera. I'm sure you'll like it. And dear friends, that is all for today. Thank you for your attention. The webinar is over. Goodbye.